Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today it's day 2 of my engine build, and today we are going to assemble some heads. Okay, so as you saw yesterday, there was lots of playing around, and it didn't really seem like we got much done, but today we are definitely getting these heads together, and that's what I'm going to do right now. And Neil has this fantastic machine that makes things so much easier. It's really worth its weight in gold. So basically, to assemble the heads, instead of working around with clamps and stuff like that, this thing does it all for you. It's fantastic. So first thing I need to do is just center the head on the machine. I've already done a practice one, by the way, so this is something I've already played around with. All right, so I've got my head clamped down onto the bench, and what I can actually do is I can release it and flip this whole contraption over. All right, so I flip this over and open this up so I can access where the valves go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my valves, my pre-prepared valves out, put a little bit of assembly lube all the way up and down the shaft, particularly in the grooves there, because it helps keep the keepers in place. So there's my nicely lubed up valve, and now I'll put it into its home. So there's my inlet valve, all nicely lubed up, and I'll just place it into its home. Then Neil has these it's a rubber plug that's been made up that's just the right shape for this head. So that sits in on top, helps hold things in place. And then a bit of a foam pad here. Stick it in like this, bring the cover down, and clamp it all in place. So that's all clamped in, so the valves aren't going to fall out. Now we'll just flip this out. So over here I have everything laid out exactly how we need it. So we've got the inlet side, the exhaust side, all of the shims are already pre-prepared with the springs and the keeper. So I've just got to work my way through and put everything back in the right spots. So we'll place the shim on there. We've got a little plastic cover here, which can slide down over the top of the valve itself. Have the valve seal here, and I'm just going to put a bit of assembly lube on that as well. Pull my cover back off again. This plastic cover just basically stops the seal getting caught in the grooves and potentially tearing the seal. All right, next we have the spring seat. The spring seat goes on top of the shim. The shim is down underneath there. So there's the spring seat. Get that sitting down nicely in place. And then we got to place the springs on, and it's important with the springs to make sure they're the right way around. They actually do have a correct way, and you can see here that the springs are closer together at the bottom than the top. So the close area, that is the bottom of the spring. Same with the secondary spring is also closer at the bottom than at the top. So we know that that is the bottom of the spring. So we put them in that way around. And now for the best part. What I can do is I can move this arm in, place it over the top, and look at that. No hands. I can get in and put the keepers in with 2 hands, no stuffing around with clamps, and how good is that? It's still a bit fiddly, but I go in with my little keeper on a magnet, and then all I do is just release the pressure. Voila, there's a valve in. All we do now is flip this over and start doing valve number 2. And there we have one finished head. All right, 3 more to go. All right, so the heads are all assembled now, and they're all looking like heads. But there's one more thing to do, and basically the last thing is to actually test them. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually run a seal on the ends of these and make sure that the valves are sealing correctly and pull a good vacuum. We want at least 0.7 of a bar to make sure that they're in good condition. So we'll run them all through now and see how they go. So we can see the gauge here, and we want it around in the green, so anything above 7 bar is good. So we'll just whack this on the end here. Then we have about 7.8, and on the inlet, and it's about the same. So we have a good head. Now we've got to go through and do all 6. So here is where I realised my microphone had run out of battery. But basically what's happened is we had one valve that actually only pulled 0.4 bar, which is far too low. So what we've got to do now is to pull it out and investigate further. And this is why we do the test, is to check and check again. And if it doesn't work, then what's the problem? Okay, so we're investigating a bit further. We've removed the valve and we're having a look at the seat and at the valve itself. All the other valves are all sealed perfectly, but this valve, there's an issue somewhere, so we're going to put a bit of machinist blue on it and just see how it seals and see if we can see where there's a fault. The seat looks good and the valve looks good, so more investigation required. All right, well, we went through and we lapped the valve on this head, and it looks like all it actually was there was a bit of burnish on this on the exhaust valve seat. It's just been left for a little while since Neil actually did it, because when he actually originally cut the seat and he pulls a vacuum on the seat with the valve at the time they cut it, so it pulled a vacuum then. It's just created a bit of a burnish on there. We've relapped it now, so it's a matter of cleaning it all up, make sure there is absolutely no lapping compound left in here, because we don't want that in the engine, because that will that's an abrasive. It will it'll wear my rings in quite quickly. All right, head's back together again. Valve's been resealed, so let's check it again. Much better. All right, so the heads are all done, and after going back over that head again, just double, triple checking, just making sure that everything is right. And I need to stress, not every machine shop does this. When they build heads, some places will just pump them out and they look nice and shiny and clean and new, but they don't necessarily go to the level of detail on this. So just keep that in mind if you're getting things done. Neil does it well. So in any case, we are moving on. Okay, so now it's time to start having a look at the crank, and I thought before I start assembling things, I'd just take you through some of the things that Neil's done to this. Okay, so the basic travel of oil is it gets forced into either end of the crank, and it comes through and it sort of has to work its way through these galleries that go inside the journals. It sort of winds its way backwards and forwards, and basically it gets fed from either end, so that generally, if there are issues with cranks and you lose rod bearings, you lose the centre rod bearings. They're the ones that run out because they've got the lowest amount of pressure. So what Neil has done to mine, and you can actually compare it to this other factory crank back here, is the centre bearing. What he's done is he's actually cross-drilled it and put a groove around the centre here so that it can actually get oil fed from the center as well. So it gets fed from either end and the center, and that means that we get much more even distribution of oil throughout the entire crank and are much less likely to lose bearings. That brings me to the galleries. There's holes in the sides of the crank here, and inside normally there's a plug, which is like just a solid plug that they punch in the center so to sort of swell out, and that blocks the holes. What Neil does with his is he's gone through and drilled them all out and tapped them so that we can actually use these grub screws. So that's what I'll be doing next, is running through and putting the grub screws in and blocking in all the holes so that we actually have a completed crank, and then we can start looking at assembly. So you can see what we've just done here. We've just put this this first gear on, and we're heating them up on this hot plate and just getting it nice and hot, and that just slipped straight on. So we'll heat up each ring as needed and slip them on. We've gone through and we've measured our crank, and we've and got our measurements there. So the next thing to do is to measure our rods, and that means going through and assembling them dry with the bearings in them, so that we can work out the exact measurements and get our clearances for the crank in total. Now, when you tighten up the rod bolts, these are all new rod bolts, but they need to be stretched, and Neil's already gone through and worked out the exact torque to stretch each one, because there's a gauge he's got that actually measures how much it moves under the torque, so that he knows that he's got it to the exact right stretch. And every single rod bolt has been stretched in each rod, so it's each bolt is matched to the hole in a specific rod. It's all matched and accurate, so that we get the nice even pressure over the whole crank. So now it's time to install these, and yeah, soon we can get some measurements of some rods. Okay, so we just went through and we measured the internal size of the rod with the bearing in it, and we've cross-referenced that with the measurements we took of our crank, so we've got our clearance. And basically what we've gone through is we've got here, we went through our clearances, and our clearances are all 0.0028 of an inch, and there's 28, 29, 28, 27, 26, 27, so they're all very even. I'm quite happy. They're yeah, they're not super tight, but they're well within spec. So now it is time to go and put some rods on the crank. All right, that is day 2 down, and we have all the rods are on the crank. They're all torqued down to spec. We went through and double checked everything, made sure everything is tight and right, and we've also gone through, obviously today we finished the heads as well, so we're on track. We are doing well, considering we got a little bit behind with a couple of disruptions, but it's really nice to learn how to do this properly and go through and just being thorough and learning how this is done, which is something I can take on to my other builds in the future when I don't have Neil over my shoulder. But I'm quite grateful I had him over my shoulder with this, particularly with the level of what this engine is at. So in any case, as always, please like and subscribe, watch for tomorrow's episode, and hopefully it's a good one. All right, see you guys.